Okay, I'm here today to talk about the V3M, the Hi Gain channel now. So I know it's taken me a couple of weeks to do this, but I'm going to do it now. First thing I want to point out is channel 1 and 2 are both Hi Gain channels. They're pretty much identical. So I set them up right now exactly the same. So this is channel 1, channel 2. One more time. Channel 1, channel 2, channel 1, channel 2. Channel 1, channel 2. So they're pretty close. You got to understand electronics have certain tolerances, so the electronics in each channel might not exactly be to the exact tolerances. So they might just have a little variation in tone or gain structure, but it's not much. It's barely noticeable. So, like I did with the clean channel, we should start with everything on a neutral setting. So let's put the EQX to off. All tone controls to 10. So bass, middle, treble, presence to 10. Let's turn the drive down. Let's put the character switch in the neutral position, which would be the middle spot. And let's just dial up a little bit of like volume on 2, drive on 2. Okay? Let's see what that sounds like. Pretty nice tone right there. It's a little sharp, like upper mid-rangey kind of tonality there. But also got to realize that we got the drive knob pretty low. So once we start dialing up that drive knob, you're going to get a lot more girth to the tone because you're going to add more compression and distortion to it. Another thing to note is in the high gain amplifiers, the manufacturer should basically dial in a standardized EQ curve for their amplifier. So Carvin has a certain tonality to it. So because once you get into a high gain situation, you're going, if you didn't have any kind of overall tone structure, what do I want to say? Tone shaping to the channel, it would just be mud. You would just wind up with a lot of low end, and it wouldn't be articulate at all, and you would just be real boomy. That is the case. In fact, you'll notice that with the original X100Bs back in the 80s, if you took the overdrive channel and you didn't engage the high gain switch, you would notice there was a lot of low end going on. There's a lot of boom, and if you didn't dial in EQ just properly, it's kind of useless. That's why they had the high gain switches. It scooped out those muddy frequencies. It gave you mud cutting frequencies, so they shaped the tone without even doing anything with the rotaries yet. Without you even touching anything, they're already shaping the tone with just the switch. Here, I assume the same thing's going on. Once you get to the high gain channel, it's kind of already pre-EQ'd before you even touch anything. So that's why all knobs on 10, basic setting, you're getting some useful tone already. You know? So that's that. Let's turn the drive knob up in the standard setting in the middle voicing here. It's going to get loud. I'm going to go up to 7 right away. I'm going to lower the volume just a little bit channel volume. My master is on 10, and I got a little bit of reverb dialed up. So I'm just going to bring the volume down to a reasonable level and bring up some high gain. So that's my guitar volume pretty low. Man, just diming up the EQ and it's pretty much there. That's drive on 7. Now this is just the middle position on the gain switch, your voicing switch. Okay, let's go up to 10 on the drive. Volume still at about 1, a little over 1. So you got a lot of bottom end just came into the situation. Got a lot of bottom in there. Just came up just by diming the drive knob. So let's go back to a neutral kind of middle ground here. Let's put the drive on 5. Let's put the volume up a little bit more. Channel volume. Still got some bottom end to it. Still cuts through a mix really quick. Also note that I'm using the G12M 70s, old speakers from the 80s, Carvin cabinet. Pretty neutral sounding speaker, so it really gives you an idea of what's going on with the head. So there's that. So let's just go through what the different gain voicings sound like between each setting. So this is in the middle, neutral setting. Okay, intense. Now I'd assume there's going to be some tone shaping going on here too. Right between those two, I loaded some low end kick in, so you're getting some more gain distortion right there. So just with the more gain, like I said, you get more bottom end. So it sounds like pretty much the same EQ curve they're using, just getting some more bottom end to it. A lot of subharmonics went in there. I heard a lot of subharmonics kick in there. Back to neutral. So here we go. Back to middle. About the same tone-wise, but a lot more gain in the intense setting. Now the deep setting. More low end. Seems like what they did was took out a little bit of that EQ curve, the mud cutting tone filters, and they actually took them out a little bit and gave you pretty much what it would sound like just without any kind of EQ shape. That very much reminds me of my X100B without the mud cutting high gain switch. So almost like a Santana-y kind of thing, right on even on your bridge pickup. They're cutting a little bit out, but not a whole lot. They're giving you that low end. Okay, so I suspect if you bring up the drive in this setting, it's going to get pretty deep sounding. I would make a observation at deep setting, very little tone shaping going on in that situation. Middle position, cutting out, scooping out some of those muddy frequencies, and in the intense setting, just getting your most amount of gain right there. So I just go back to the standard middle position on that, and mess around with the EQX. Right now EQX is out, EQX in. Woo! Did something there, even with everything dimed. Out. In. Definitely did some mud cutting there for sure. It brought in a lot of high-end, almost metallic sounding now. Really bright upper mid-range kind of thing. Cut out some of that low mid-range. Where we didn't notice much of a change on the clean channel when all the EQ knobs were dimed. Bass, middle, treble, presence were on 10, and we flipped that EQX switch on and off. Kind of didn't do much until you started playing with the rotaries. Then you started noticing the difference, especially in the mid-range knob and in the bass knob. Okay, so here right off the bat, EQX is taking some low-end frequencies out, some low mids. So if you were on probably the deep setting and you used that, you brought up your drive a lot. Pretty interesting right there. So, pretty cool. Let's go back to about a drive on about 7 and volume on. Just over 1. Okay? So the EQX switch on the high gain is actually cutting out some low mids. Let's see what it does to the rotaries.